As we position ourselves for the new year, for some of us, 2018 was amazing. For others of us, perhaps 2018 was just brutal and like you can't wait to get to the new year. In a room like this with hundreds and hundreds of people and people watching us online, there's different life experiences, but yet there's still one true God who loves us, and he knows exactly who we are, where we're at, and he's got our backs. He wants to help us. And we're going to talk about a little bit of what the Lord's preparing for us for 2019, and I think it's very important that we remember what God's done in our lives, through our lives, and how to position ourselves to maximize the new season that we're going into. And one of my daughters asked me this week, Dad, so what are you excited for 2019? And maybe in the midst of all of our holiday festivities and parties and everything, maybe we haven't thought of a bunch about what's to come in 2019. But is anybody excited for the new year at all? Do you believe that God has amazing things for you and your family this next year? He absolutely does. And sometimes we just get caught up in all the craziness of life and last-minute shopping. I told you last week, I posted on my Insta story, I said, man, pray for your brother because I'm going to Serramonte Mall on Friday to try to go shopping with a few 100,000, not 100,000, but lots of thousands of people shopping together. Felt like hundreds of thousands. I'm like, this is crazy. But I survived. And in the midst of all the craziness, we have to have a plan and we have to be positioned for what the Lord has. And I think one of the keys that we have to remember is oftentimes we go through life experiences and sometimes it's such a blur, it's so crazy that we forget what we've navigated through. Sometimes it's because it wasn't easy, it was painful, and we just want to get out on the other side. But even in our hard times, there's a great lesson to be learned through that. And I think wisdom would tell us that, you know what, when you go through hell, when you go through tough times, jot it down, write it down, learn something from it. You might as well get your blessing out of that test. You feel me? You know what I'm talking about? So that you don't have to go through that again sometime down the road. As a church family here, we're going to talk, and I'm going to ask Pastor Layton to help me a little bit, but this last year, we went through some good seasons, some challenging seasons as a church collectively. It was just over a year ago that we had to move from our church building on 6th Street down in Soma. We had been there for 5 years. Marcus had been one of our apprentices there. Very first night that he was there was a homicide right across the street from our church. Someone got shot and killed right there. And then before the sun came up that next morning, somebody else got stabbed and killed on the alley next to our church. So 2 homicides, like, welcome to San Francisco. It's killer ministry out here. Or at least that location was. And but it was a great time, and that's where the Lord birthed our church together here. And but then they served us the notice, we have to move. We got to bounce. We got to go. And it was crazy because the weeks leading up to our move, the contractors, they're already pounding their equipment, their machinery next to us, and I'm trying to pray, and it's like, man, the devil is a liar. And we were desperate, but our church prayed, and we rallied together, and it was just about a year ago that we were able to move into this building that used to be a light or a lamp shop. I'm like, that sounds biblical right there. God says we're called to be the light of the world. We'll take it. And within all the volunteers and all of your help and generosity, and we were able to come and to flip this place and got all the permits and everything. And today we are a church on a hill. Come on, somebody. Shining bright. And the fruit of God's ministry is this. It's you. So we celebrate what the Lord did. That was one of our first huge hurdles. And from that move, our church rallied. We grew together. People were telling us, like, hey, whenever a church has to move locations, particularly if it's more than 1 mile away, you're going to lose a good chunk of your church population. Our church family actually grew. Through adversity, we grew. More people began to find us and connect us. And we got better parking. Come on, somebody. Pastor Elaine, tell us a couple things. What were some of the memories, some of the things that we experienced as a church collectively that just kind of jump out at you?
Well, I don't know if any of you parents remember, but just about a year ago, our kids were camping out downstairs. Literally, the downstairs was a garage, and we turned it into kids' spaces this year. And shout out to Shanna and the entire kids team. Telling you, if you've been down there, right, come on. If you've been down there at all, you can see what a beautiful job that our team and the contractors have done in building us real kids spaces, our own rooms for the kids, clean, beautiful, and we're only just begun. There's even more things coming. So just amazing how our parents were able to bring their kids into what we were calling a camp out for probably 6 months. And that was just amazing that even in the middle of us having to tear down and set up and tear down and set up every single week, not only did families come, but more families even came. And it's been beautiful to watch how when we stick together, our team has grown, the kids' team has grown, the teachers, the amount of teachers we have has grown this year. So exactly that, through adversity, there's been so much growth, and it's just been beautiful to watch that ability.
That's right. And as you saw a little glimpse today, a little teaser, our kids, man, we are blessed. We have these most beautiful, gorgeous little kids. And in our children's ministry downstairs, they are rocking. They have worship downstairs, every classroom. By the way, they get to watch you worship during the worship. No pressure, but there's screens downstairs. So if mom and dad aren't worshiping up here, they're going to call you out on it when you get home. Well, we're excited because in 2019, we're going to do our first ever VBS, Vacation Bible School, for all of our kids this summer. It's going to be amazing. And then we're going to plan it out, and kids are going to come. You're like, free childcare during the summer? Come on, somebody. And but we're going to have a blast. These kids are going to love it. And every year it's going to be a highlight for them. So that's something that we're looking forward to in 2019. What is maybe something else, babe, that kind of jumps out at you?
Well, I have 3 kids in the youth ministry, and this year alone, our youth ministry has just, I think, tripled in size. And it's been, right? Come on. It's been so exciting to see people coming from all of the different high schools and junior highs from around, and even my own children have invited their friends, and lots of people have come, and it's been so exciting to see when there is growth, there's momentum, and there's been true momentum in the youth department. Not only, I think it was just a little less than a year ago, they went away to what we call an encounter retreat, and if you haven't signed your kids up for that, you really should, because it was a momentous moment for the youth of our church, where they went away to this conference in Vacaville, a youth conference, and they spent some time just learning about Jesus and pressing in. And when they came back, they were on fire for Jesus, and some of them even gave their hearts to Jesus for the first time at that conference. And it's been a beautiful thing to see how the growth of the people that have been in our youth from the day one, as they have grown. When we started, it was just Erica. Erica was the very first one, and to see our youth group just be completely filled to overflowing. There's room for more always, but it's just really fun. So great job, David and Aaron and all the leaders who have really worked hard this year. Yeah.
And our youth group began to grow. We started with 1, and pretty soon there's a few more, and then Laura and Sarah and all these different ones.
They all got
Sammy.
married this year.
And yeah, 3 of the first 4 kids in our youth ministry are married already.
We're not that old. Come on.
Some of you are like, man, I should have joined that youth group a while ago. But anyway, that's another story. But Pastors David and Aaron, thank you guys. You guys are killing it. And all of our outreaches on campuses, Bible clubs in different places. And man, Jesus would feed people fish and chips. We feed them cheese pizza and pepperoni pizza. Come on, somebody. And Roberto and our interns and Pastor David going on to different campuses, and all of our Bible club leaders. I shout out to you guys. You guys are amazing. So proud of you guys. And you're sowing seeds, and people are getting saved. And it's so fun to watch all these young people come into church. And they come with their questions. They come with their issues. They just come, and we're excited that they're coming. Come on, somebody. And so that has been a huge win for us. And I believe that this year will be a year of multiplication. Y'all are going viral. This youth ministry is just building momentum right now. It's going to be crazy amazing. So that's so cool. Another cool thing about even the youth is that we pray for our teachers and our educators regularly. And our kids, our 5th grade teacher got saved or recommitted her life to the Lord and connected to the house of God. And her husband is the principal of one of the largest middle schools here in the peninsula. And he got saved this last year. Come on, somebody. Planted in the house of God. Serves part of our media team here. And it was amazing to hear him during the graduation last summer. And because we got to be kind of, it's a public school, you got to be kind of careful not to, force your faith on others. So he was quoting from 1 Corinthians 13, but he didn't reference it. My Bible says, he just says, love is patient, love is kind. And he starts quoting what love is. What is love? And he just began to quote love. And we're looking at each other like, that's the Bible. And so it's so fun to see revival here in the youth and teachers and educators and parents. Tell us about life groups.
Yeah, don't forget, it was just a few months ago. So this whole year, we've been putting an emphasis as a church on our life groups, and those are our groups that meet in our homes. And we've had more groups start this year. We've multiplied, and more groups have started this year than ever before. And if you're not part of a life group, you definitely want to join one coming up in January. But it's been so exciting. Our own home, I think, has been one of the most fulfilling moments for us the entire year. We have breaks in life groups, but in our life group, we just can't stop meeting. So we just like, hey, just keep on coming over. We'll have a barbecue or a game night. And it's been so fulfilling and fun. And that same couple that gave their hearts to Jesus, the school teachers and the principal, we decided we would go a little bit out of the ordinary, and we decided to have a backyard baptism in our backyard. And so we had them and a few other people that got baptized in our life group, during our life group, and we were able to broadcast it to their family members so they could see. But for me, there's nothing better than doing life together, and nothing better than getting to know each other in a personal way, because what happens when you're feeling down or sometimes sitting in church, you don't want to tell each other your junk, right? You want to come on and you kind of want to look good in church, but when you get together in a group and you're sitting around in a home, sometimes there's this ability for you to be able to have somebody pray for you when you're walking through something. And we've seen more healings. We've seen God do miraculous things. God has walked people through some of the hardest seasons of their life, but he's been faithful. And as a group, we've seen God do that. And it has been probably the most fulfilling thing for me this year, is just spending time in life group together, and even having our own life group multiply, and Guillermo and Teresa starting their own life group, and that being filled to overflowing. So to me, that's been exciting. I've enjoyed that.
Yeah, so we've been multiplying life groups all throughout the city and throughout the Bay Area, and we're looking to multiply more. Pastor Keys was hit me up last night. Pastor, we got to get the word out. If people have a desire to host a life group, man, we need more volunteers. We need more people to lead groups. So if you're interested in joining and helping us to just make it easy for people to do community in small group, talk to Pastor Keys, because that's how we get down. And you know how we get down here at City Life. There's always food involved. There's always some great food. So, amen. So whether you're in Daly City or Pacifica or San Mateo or anywhere throughout the city here or in the East Bay, we know how to eat and have a good time together. And if you have issues, and like Pastor Elena said, junk, talk to Pastor Keys and he'll help you. And but small groups are a great environment for us to do life together as a community. And if you become close friends with somebody else, maybe that does become appropriate, where you guys can pray together and just kind of share life experiences and grow together. And it's wonderful that way. So life groups, man, it's a huge win. Pastor Lawman was telling us as far as next steps and a fresh start this year, we had the largest number of people give their lives to Jesus in the history of our church. Almost every week, someone here gives their life to the Lord and says, Jesus, I'm willing to trust you, and would you come and take control of my life? And we celebrate that. We don't take that lightly. As those little red cards are filled out, the pastoral team, we read those names, and we just celebrate with you. And again, this year was incredible, and it's just the beginning. We're believing that next year it's going to multiply. Many, many, many more people will come to Christ. Why? Because they met Jesus here in the house of the Lord, whether it was through a life group, whether you're boxing with Gio at the boxing live group or whatever, beat the hell out of you. Bam, get heaven into you and hell out. Just keeping it proper. Whatever it would be. We're believing that this next year, man, people are going to meet Jesus for real. Folks don't need religion. Ain't nobody got time for religion, y'all. Religion itself is empty, it's dry. But having a personal encounter with Jesus, that's what changes people. That's what's transformative, and that's what keeps us going, because God is so amazing. Earlier this year, we also had Serve Day back in July, and teams all throughout our city and all throughout our different communities, we went and served different places, whether it was public schools, senior centers, 6th Street, fill in the blank. We had a variety of different outreaches, and Pastor Keys and the God Squad, they were amazing this year, and even Pastor Keys giving up his precious time. He works at the mayor's office. He's full-time at the mayor's office and full-time pastor with us, giving some of his family time to come and serve and lead our outreach teams. You guys are amazing, man. I'm proud of you, and we're making a difference. So whether it's the Navigation Center on Christmas or Thanksgiving, or Bags of Love on 6th Street, or Bless the Block, or beautifying our schools, or buying TVs and painting the senior center out here down the street. I mean, fill in the blank, our teams, we've blessed, and we're believing for 2019 that God's going to help us to be an even greater blessing that way. Amen, somebody? So shout out to you for that, my man. And then, church, you guys are incredibly generous. And because of your generosity, because of your lavish faith and generosity, we've been able to not only be a blessing to our own community here, but globally. Our church alone gave hundreds of thousands of dollars this last year towards church planting, missions, and outreach. Now, you might not think, well, what is that? Because of your generosity, we were able to build another church in India. We've got multiple churches now. And in February, I'm taking a team. We're going to go dedicate it, lay hands on the pastors there, and we're going to continue to dig water wells so that people can receive natural water and spiritual water in their community. And that's because of your generosity. So you know what? I'm partnering with God. If God can use my finances to make a difference, I'm in. And you have. Just recently, we sent $12,000 to build a school in Thailand where Peter and Chinga led a team a couple months ago. And I was able to go there, and the Lord spoke to me. We got to sow into this ministry. So we're building classrooms for these little orphans that need to be educated. Come on, somebody. We just sent last week money to a church in Romania. We partnered with church planters in Los Angeles. Shout out to our LA folks in the building here today. And we got church planters. Next year, we're going to sow large amounts of money into new church plants. And you're going to get to meet Pastor Sean and Jenny. We're going to become one of their spiritual coverings. And we're going to send them out to Elk Grove near Sacramento. And they're going to plant another life-giving church up there. And our church is going to sow generously into that plant. And so because of that, we're celebrating our influence, not just in our city right here, but in our nation and throughout the nations of the world. Come on, somebody. That right there is amazing. So thank you for that. Because of your generosity, we're able to partner with Ministers Fellowship International, equipping churches all throughout the U.S. and globally, and ARC. ARC is a church planting organization. And through ARC, we've partnered with ARC, and we've been able to together help plant over 800 churches all throughout the U.S. Ridiculous. It's crazy. And it includes a few churches right here in San Francisco. They're like, say what, dog? It's like, when does McDonald's sow money into Burger King or Wendy's? That's competition right there. Other local churches in San Francisco, they're not a competition. They're on the same team. There's almost 1 million people in San Francisco that need Jesus. So the more church planters that come, the better it is. And like, we're going to sow generously. We're going to help them. And we've sent resources and finances. We've had multiple different churches come and use our building. This one, even before it was done, Hillsong's like, we got nowhere to meet as a dream team. Can we meet at City Life? We're like, come on, Hillsong, come and hang out. So Sozo has been here, Sozo Church and Hillsong and the Father's House and Liberty Church and a variety of different churches. And it's crazy. That's because we're part of a big team that loves this city. What's another highlight for you from this last year, baby?
You know, for me, it's been so incredible to see how people have decided to serve in this local church already. We talked about Serve Day, where we, make an emphasis to help people learn how to serve the city. But maybe you don't know about it, but our church is serving every single week. We don't just wait for a Serve Day to serve our city and to serve the people around us. We serve not only in the church, but we serve our city around us. And so I know we mentioned the God Squad, but we're going to have another Serve Day coming up this year, and it's a chance for you to find out where you can get involved. But this last year was a lot of our life groups that came out and served on Serve Day. And not only have our life groups grown, but we've seen people inside of our life groups join what we call the Dream Team. And those are people that serve every day, every week on a Sunday, and sometimes even throughout the week, giving their time and their efforts. And this year we were able to do something that we called a Dream Team party. And I think we had about 4 of those. And for me, those were a highlight. People who have been serving every single week, giving their heart and their soul, our kids workers that serve hours and hours and hours, to love on our children, teach them the ways of Jesus, our worship team, and those of you who serve in our hospitality and our media team. It's been beautiful to see more people join that team. And not only have they joined, but we've been able to party together, because at this church, one thing we enjoy is fun. So we try to create these fun opportunities, and that's been a highlight for me this year, is being able to hang out with you, the Dream Team, those of you who've chosen to serve. So thank you if you're part of the Dream Team. If you're not, we have Next Steps plug right afterwards. You can come and find out how to be involved. But it, to me, is one of the best highlights, being able to serve alongside you, to see what God has done. In fact, this last week, probably 4 years in a row on Christmas Sunday, I was having to run around and turn on the lights and do all kinds of stuff. And I looked around last week and I'm like, wait, there's nothing for me to do. What should I be doing today? Because you are doing it. So thank you very much for being a part of the team. We can't do it without you. Thank you.
How about the Crazy Olympics, right? The Dream Team Crazy Olympics earlier the year. That was crazy. That was fun. That was insane. And or Dave & Buster's, when we took our entire Dream Team, like 120, 150 people out to Dave & Buster's. And the highlight for me was Kenton playing whatever that game is where you roll the little ball. And so Kenton, our lead usher, OG Kenton, in the building. He was skeet ball, is that what it's called? And he's just dominating, teaching them young ones how to do it. And so we love our Dream Team. You guys are amazing. There's always opportunities for people to get involved. I think one of the greatest things about belonging is when God uses us to partner with others to make a difference in someone's life. And that's what Dream Team is all about. Some of you are here today because you would drive by on Sundays and you see those red flags and some person holding a sign. You're like, you know what? I need to go check out that church. And because someone was holding a sign even when it was cold outside, and yeah, we were serving up some dope. Not dope. One sentence. We were serving up dope Ghirardelli hot chocolate. One big sentence.
Delicious.
We weren't serving
Delicious
dope.
hot chocolate.
That's another story. But because we were out there, someone saw them, and they came, and they're part of our church. And so if you're like, I don't know what to do, how it's serving, do I have to be super spiritual? How spiritual is that holding a sign, y'all? Just, saying, hello, welcome to church. So join one of our teams. We'd like to have you come and be a part of that.
Before he goes on, I'll be real quick, but we did a series a few months ago called Making Room, and I just want to thank you for inviting your friends and your coworkers and your family members, because we had more people that came as the result of an invitation this year than ever before, and it's because of you taking a chance to be bold and invite people that maybe you weren't sure would say yes. Just thank you very much for inviting, and I'm going to encourage you in the new year to go ahead and invite them again, invite them back, let them know there's room for them at our table, there's room for them here. So thank you very much for taking the chance to invite somebody and seeing God work in their lives. So
that's right. And we could brag about you for another couple hours, but I'm excited for 2019. It's not just cliche. It's not just another thing that preachers say every year. Hey, it's a new year, so new breakthroughs ahead. I do believe that 2019 will be a year of miracles for us. It's going to be a year of miracle for you. Maybe you don't live in the city. Maybe this isn't your home church and you're coming to visit somebody. I'm declaring God's miracles over you, over your family, that it doesn't have to be the same. Where you've been, it's been perhaps good, or maybe it's been terrible. I'm declaring God's blessings over you and your family. It's a year of miracles. It is a year of breakthroughs for us. I feel like the theme for our church for 2019, and I shared it with our pastors several months ago, I feel like God spoke to me. He says, 2019 is a year of possessing the land. And I'm not talking just literal land, though it could be for some of us. But what about the promises of God for you, for your family? Maybe for your health, for your finances, for your relationships, maybe kids that are estranged or they're distant. I believe that 2019 will be a year for us to possess that which God has spoken for us. He's got an inheritance for you, and we partner with Him. He does the heavy lifting, but we do our part. So I'm declaring that over you, and I'm going to get my preacher anointing on. I'm going to have Kaiki come and play the keyboards. That means I can't preach the everlasting word. So, Kaiki, you come on the keyboard, and I'm going to give you my best 5-minute sermon ever. Is that all right? Can I do it? So, my notes are available on your devices if you've already clicked on that. But Genesis 28, it talks about Jacob. Jacob, as a background, if you don't know who he is, his name means the cheater, the supplanter, the dude who's always working it. He had to work it, and he had a brother. He had a twin. And he happened to be born just moments after his older brother, who came out first. And even as they were coming out of the birth canal, they were wrestling, and one was pulling each other's ankle. So Esau was the older brother, and he got out first. And Jacob would always wrestle, so to speak, with his brother. And it got to the point where Esau, the older brother, was his dad's favorite, and Jacob was a mama's boy. Jacob, man, he was sweet to his mom and all that. And Esau, he was just a rugged dude, and he was a hunter. And his dad liked that boy. He liked the macho dude, and he didn't care for the second child. And Jacob was grieved by that. He says, man, I wish I could be the firstborn. I wish I could have the birthright, because with the birthright came double portion, double blessing. It also came with responsibilities. So he actually tricked his brother, and one day the dude came home and he was hungry, and dude, are you hungry? I got some soup. Let's swap. You give me your birthright, you can have the soup that I made, and it's delicious. And Esau was in a vulnerable place, so he sold his birthright for a cup of soup. Later on, as it would be the Hebrew tradition way back in the day, before the father would die, he would lay his hands on the firstborn, and he would speak the blessing over the firstborn, saying, hey, my responsibilities, I'm turning them over to you. You're going to get a double portion of my inheritance, but with it, the responsibility to lead a family. Jacob, understanding that his dad was about to die soon, he goes, wait a minute, I want that blessing. And the dad had lost his sight, so he talks to his mom, and they work it. There's a song that talks about working it real good, and they worked it real good. And the dad couldn't see, but he could feel it. The older son was hairy, so they patched up some animal hair and fur on his arms and grabbed some of his laundry, the older brother's laundry that he had washed, and he smelled like his brother. And he gets into the tent, and the dad like, man, you kind of sound like the younger brother, but man, you sure smell like your older brother, and whoo, you're hairy. And he spoke the blessing of God over Jacob, the cheater, the supplanter, the guy who was working it. he stole the blessing. When his brother found out, he wanted to kill him. And if you read in Genesis chapter 28, it gives us the story, and the mom says, and the dad together, you know what, you better get out of here. You better bounce quick, because when your brother gets you, he's going to kill you. So I'm going to pick it up from right here, verse 10 of Genesis 28. It says, meanwhile, Jacob, he left Beersheba, and he traveled towards Haran. At sundown, he arrived at a good place, set up a camp, and he stopped there for the night. And Jacob found a stone to rest his head against. That's a hard pillow right there. And he lay down to sleep, and as he slept, he dreamt. And he dreamed of a stairway that reached from the earth up to heaven. And he saw the angels of God going up and down the stairway. At the top of the stairway stood the Lord, and he said, I am the Lord, the God of your father Abraham, and the God of your father Isaac. The ground that you're lying on, it belongs to you, and I'm giving it to you and your descendants. And your descendants will be as numerous as the dust of the earth. And they will spread out in all directions, to the west and to the east and to the north and to the south. And all the families, someone say family, all the families of the earth will be blessed through you and your descendants. Today we are blessed because of the covenant God made with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, a covenant of faith and blessings. And it says, what's more, I'm with you, and I will protect you wherever you go. One day I will bring you back to this land, and I will not leave you until I have finished giving you everything that I have promised you. Then Jacob, he awoke from his sleep, and he said, surely the Lord is in this place, and I wasn't even aware of it. But he was also afraid, and he said, what an awesome place this is. It is none other than the house of God, the very gateway to heaven. Come on, thank you, Jesus, for the house of God, the gateway to heaven. The next morning, Jacob got up very early, and he took the stone that he had rested his head against, and he set it upright as a memorial pillar. Then he poured olive oil over it, and he named that place Bethel, not in Redding, but Bethel, which means the house of God, although it was previously called Luz. And then verse 20, then Jacob, he made a vow, if God will indeed be with me and protect me on this journey, and if he will provide me with food and clothing, and if I return safely to my father's home, then the Lord will certainly be my God. And this memorial pillar I have set up will become a place for worshiping God, and I will present to God a tenth of everything that he gives me. He had an encounter with God at that moment, at that place. God came in the midst of him running for his life. Have you ever had one of those seasons of life where it's just kind of like you've got mixed emotions? On one hand, you're excited about something, but on the other hand, you're deeply grieved. On one hand, he's thrilled that he got the birthright. I did it. Come on, duh, I got it. But on the other hand, it's like, dude, I'll never see my dad or my mom again. I'm having to leave my home, my place that I'm familiar with. I can probably no longer come until possibly my brother is dead or something else were to happen. So he's running for his life. And in the midst of craziness, and don't you think that a conniver like him, a cheater like him, do you think that perhaps he was feeling a little like guilty maybe? Maybe not. In the midst of his jacked up world, God comes and meets him right in the middle of his nap. As he's sleeping, as he's running for his life, maybe you're thinking that, man, once I got everything put together, then I'll give God an opportunity. I'll kind of pursue God. Can I tell you that God pursues us? Even when we're messed up, God pursues you. Some of you guys, your past is haunting you. It's like you're handcuffed to your past, but God still comes to you right now and says, better days are still to come. Your past does not have to define you. Your yesterdays don't have to hold you back. You no longer have to be bound by the guilt, by the condemnation, by the shame of some poor choices. God is a God of new beginnings. And 2019, God wants to give you a new beginning. He wants to open our eyes to see more clearly that God has great things in store for us. Maybe you're disappointed with God. Maybe you've been disappointed with church. Maybe you've been disappointed with Christians and people who let you down. And guess what? People will let you down. Christian people, pastors will let you down. But God never does. And in the midst of that place, God began to speak to him and says, I am God. I'm the God of Abraham, your grandpa, and Isaac, your dad, and I'm going to be your God. And he began to make these promises over him, and I'm going to bless you. The very place that you're laying your head right now, which is a place of transition, I'm going to give you this place. Maybe it's that workplace that you work at right now. You say, man, I'm tired of working for another boss. Maybe God says, I'm going to give you this joy. I'm going to give you this place. Someday you're going to be not just the manager, you're going to be the owner of this place. Very place where he rested his head, God says, I'm going to give that to you, and I'm going to give you descendants. Dang, bro, you're not even married yet, man. I'm going to give you so many kids, and there's going to be so many families, and all the families of the earth will be blessed because of you and the promise that I made to you. And And in your notes, you can read the different things that I jotted down, but the promises of God. Here, Jacob, he had an encounter with God. He had a revelation of who God is and what God was all about. And then God began to speak promises to him. And one of the coolest things that I love about this is that God says, I'm not going to leave you. I'm not going to leave you. Maybe you came to church today. He says, man, I've made all kinds of crazy mistakes in my journey. I'm not deserving of God's love. I'm not worthy for him to come after me again, even though he's come after me before. Can I tell you that God doesn't look for perfect people? He looks for broken people. We are sons and daughters, and we've been singing about it all day. And this is how we fight our battles. We say, man, we're going to worship God, and God continues to chase us down. I could preach, and I'm going to stop right here. You can read my notes later. It's good. It's good. Especially like towards the end right there. See, it's highlighted in my notes right there. It's really good. Two things that I'm going to leave you with, these two action thoughts right here. As you position yourself into going into 2019, much like the space shuttle, when it's coming back into the Earth's orbit and coming into our atmosphere, it's all about timing and positioning. If it comes too fast or it comes out in the wrong position, it burns up and it blows up. It's all about us positioning our hearts, going into this next year, a year of faith, a year of promise, a year of breakthrough, a year of us possessing what God has for us. We got to posture and position our hearts correctly. We can't be the ones that are in charge. God is the one that needs to be in charge. He needs to be in control of our lives. We need to surrender and submit to Him. But the two action steps is, number one, remember what you did. Whatever you did, remember what you did. Good or bad, remember what you did and learn from it. Learn from that experience. Maybe it was something good, like, man, chalk it up. Remember it, learn from it. If it was bad, learn from your mistakes so you don't have to keep going back. Whatever you did. And number two, whatever God did, what did my notes say? I forgot. Whatever God did. Always thank Him. That's right. You got it in your notes. Whatever God did, or maybe whatever God said, you thank Him. I'm going to invite you to stand to your feet so I can pray my best prayer over you. Don't forget the faithfulness of your God. He's always faithful. We say it every week, especially when Pastor Keys is hosting. God is good all the time, because He is. God is always good. He's always perfect. He's always amazing. He's got your back, and He wants to help you going into this next year. And I'm going to say this prayer, and then Pastor Keys is going to close us out. Would you raise your hands to heaven with me? Allow me to just pray this prayer of just victory over us. God, I thank You for each person here in this room. I thank You for each family. God, I thank You that You know everything about us, and You love us, and You continue to chase us down. Father, there's some people in this room who've had a tough year. Some people are celebrating. They had a great year. But Father, either way, it's because of Your goodness and Your kindness that we find ourselves here today. And Father, we recognize our dependency upon You. Father, I speak a blessing over each person here under the sound of my voice, and even those watching online. I speak Your blessings over them going into 2019. You're God of covenant. You spoke a blessing over Abraham thousands of years ago, Isaac and Jacob. And because we are children of faith, the seed of Abraham, we receive those promises as well. Father, I speak the blessing of God that You've called us to be the head and not the tail, above and not beneath. I thank You that Your favor will chase us down. In 2019, I speak multiplication. I declare multiplication. I declare fruitfulness. I declare growth in every area of our lives. I pray, Father, that You'd be glorified in and through us, that we would see miracles with our own eyes, that we would see communities transformed and families changed forever, marriages restored, prodigal sons and daughters coming back and getting right with God. I speak for financial breakthroughs, God, promotions and upgrades. I speak health, emotional and physical health. Father, I declare that 2019 will be even better than 2018, by far, by far. So I speak a blessing over each one here today. We thank You, God, that You've just only begun. And we're thrilled to be a partner with You, God. So we bless You. We bless Your people in the name of Jesus. And all of God's people said, amen. Pastor Marquise.